To learn how people really speak English, you need to know all about how English speakers reduce their grammar. And this is how they do it in the most common ways. Let's start off with some phrases which are considered more polite when you're speaking. Phrases such as, how are you doing? I'm very well, thanks. I'm pleased to hear that. How is your family? Your talk was excellent. I'd like to meet again soon. These are just some examples of very common English phrases that you may hear all the time. But something can happen when two people get together who are native English speakers and are a little bit more familiar with each other. Look what happens. To reduce the grammar, you can do this. Instead of how are you doing? How you doing? Instead of I'm very well, thanks. Good, thanks. Instead of I'm pleased to hear that, just pleased to hear that. Instead of how is your family? And your family. Instead of your talk was excellent, just excellent talk. And instead of I'd like to meet again soon, meet again soon. Did you notice the most common thing that happened here? How many words did I say in the polite phrases? And how many words did I say in the more familiar phrases where I reduced the grammar? Well, it's obvious that there are more words in the polite phrases. And what that indicates is when we become more familiar, we drop words. Certain grammatical features can be missed out. And if there's a grammatical feature which is obvious from context, we don't have to say it. Let's think about this. In a conversation between two people, do you really need to say I? When you're speaking, it's obvious who you are. So notice in the polite phrases we use I a lot. But in the familiar phrases, none of them have I at all. You may use I sometimes still if you're familiar, but only if you have to. If you don't have to, you can often just drop it. Let's focus on a few examples of I. I'm very well, thanks. This becomes good, thanks. Notice that I and am, the subject and the verb, have gone. It's the same in the next one. I'm pleased to hear that. I am pleased to hear that. In the familiar phrase, it's gone. Pleased to hear that. And let's look at the last example. I'd like to meet again soon. Here, would like is a common way of making a request. But in the familiar phrase, it's gone. I has gone, would like has gone. Subject and verb has gone. And instead it's just meet again soon. And what we do here is instead we use intonation to indicate that it's a question instead. I would like is the indicator of a request in the polite phrase, but meet again soon? We go up on the word soon to show it's a question. The other phrases all reduce grammar too. How are you doing? Are goes. How you doing? And how is your family? Well, the topic is your family. So notice in this example, we just give the topic. And again, we use intonation to show it's a question. So instead of how's your family, we say, and your family? Your family? By going up with our voice at the end, that's how we show it's a question. So we don't need how is. We don't need the question words. All we need is the intonation to show it's a question. So basically, any shortcut that people can make without losing meaning will help you to sound more familiar and that you have a closer relationship with the person you're speaking to. You'll hear this all the time in common conversational English, and as you get to know native speakers of English, notice how they start dropping words out of phrases when they're just having a simple conversation with you. Learn more about this on my course, Advanced English Speaking and Pronunciation. There's 7.5 hours full of videos and instructions on what native speakers do when they speak English, the things that you've heard but no one's actually explained. I explain them for you. It has a whole section on pronunciation, teaching you how to form words in your mouth correctly, and other sections teaching you features of English that people use when they're speaking naturally, such as stress, rhythm, intonation, and connecting words together. There's a link in the description below this video, and you'll get a discount if you click on that link and go to the course. Otherwise, click here to watch my next video.